While learning Java Stream API, the most confusing part is to understand the map versus the flat map. So I'll try to make it simplify by giving you a lot of examples. But I will divide this topic into two videos. The first video, which is this, here I will be telling you everything that you need about the flat map and the map, the flattening and mapping, and you will be creating the clone of the flat map or the map method, which will be exactly similar to your map or the flat map version that you have in the Java Stream API. So people have a lot of confusion while using those methods because they don't have the fundamental of flattening and conversion, those things. So we will try to cover those things over here in this particular video first. And after completing this video, you can go to the next video where we'll talk about the Java Stream API map method and the Java Stream API flat map method. But here in this video, we'll also do the exact same thing, but not by using the Java Stream API flat method, but we will create our own flat map method, own map method, and we'll try to understand what things are going on, what is one-to-one mapping, what is one-to-many mapping, what is flattening, what is conversion, and all that, okay? Everything we're going to be doing it by ourselves. So let's just get started. All right, so let's just start fresh and let's first try to understand what exactly mean by flattening a list or flattening a map. We need to get started from there. So first of all, what I'm going to do, just to make you understand and just to get you started, I will be creating a list. Imagine there is a list I'm going to create, something like this. And let's say inside this list, I'm going to have some integer like, let's say 1 and 2 and 3. Okay. So this list of method is going to return me a list of integers. And I'm going to say a list of integers 1. And there you go. Okay. So there you go. So I have a bunch of integers over here. Well, I just have a question here. So whenever you say a list of integers, how do you imagine a list of integers in real time? We have this list. So you can imagine something like we should have a list like this. Well, lists are backed by arrays behind the scene. So something like this, you can imagine you have a list object and it has some indexes. Let's say 0, 1, and 2. And the element goes over here 1, 2, 3. And I can say this is a list that I do have over here. And this is pretty much fair. Well, if I'm going to come out of this, imagine I have a bunch of lists like this. I have a list like this and a list like this. So now I have 3 different lists. I hope that you will be able to imagine, just try to imagine how this lists are looking like in real time. We have 3 different lists, right? Cool. Now, I'm going to go a step further right now. Imagine I want to create an array list. Okay, I want to create an array list. List is equal to new array list. Well, what is going to be the type of this array list? What type of data that I want to store inside this array list? Well, I might be able to store integers inside the array list or string inside the array list, or maybe some foo type or bar type. But here inside this array list, I will store what, I will store some list type of data. I want to store some list of integers type of data. Okay, something like this. Inside this list, I'm going to add some elements which is going to be of list type. For an example, I'm going to say list of integers 1. So inside this array list, I'm going to placing this list and I'm going to copy paste this add method for some more times. Okay, and I'm going to be putting, let's say, list of integers 2 inside it and list of integers 3 inside it. Okay. Now, if you're going to see this, how do you guys imagine this list? Let's say this list, if I'm going to imagine, what is this list? This is a list. So I can imagine something like I have a list like this. Let's say there is some indexes here. Let's say 0, 1, and 2. Okay, 0, 1, and 2. This list basically represented by this array list. Okay, this is the array list. What kind of elements that I'm going to be stored over here? In each bucket over here, I'm going to be storing list of integer. Okay, so here also I'm going to be storing a list of integer type of data, right? Here also I'm going to store list of integer type of data, and here also I'm going to store list of integer type of data, right? So this list is going to consist of list of integer type of data. It's pretty simple. And what I'm putting inside it, list of integers 1, I'm going to put this inside it. This is what? This is a list. So imagine inside this list, I'm going to have an inner list. Okay, imagine something like this. Okay, let's say again 0, 1, and 2. So inside the first index, I'm going to put this, so which is this one. So this is like 1, 2, 3. In the first index, I'm going to put this integers 2, and it is going to have, let's say, 0 and 1 index, and it is having 4 and 5. And the third one is this. It is having a list which is containing 4 elements. So it has 4 indexes. So I can say 0, 1, 2. So 0, 1, 2, 3. And it has 6, 7, 8, 9. So you should able to imagine this line number 11 is this. So this is a nested list. So I'm going to have a list, but inside that list, I'm going to again put list type of data, right? So this is I can say this is my outer list. Okay. This is my outer list, which is this one. And these are my inner list. So this is my inner list. Okay. I hope you understand that. Okay. Tell me one thing, guys. If I'm going to do this outer list is what? This list is this one. Okay. If I'm going to do this, if I'm going to do, let's say list dot get of 0, then what I'll be getting over here? If I'm going to do list of get of 0, then I'm going to get this. What is this? This is a list of integer. So I'm going to get a list of integer back. Let's say I'm going to say this as integer list. Okay. So if I'm going to do get of 0, I'm going to get another list back, which is the inner list. Let's say if I want to get this one right now, then from this integer list, which is the inner list, I can say again integer list dot get of, let's say 0. Then what I'll get? I'll get this 1. So I will get the actual integer back over here. If I want to say integer I, now this I, if I'm going to print, now this I value will be 1. Okay, so I think you understand that. So just remember that whenever you're going to do this list.get 0, you're going to get another list back. And inside that list, you have the actual elements. Okay, all right. So there you go. So if I'm going to print this list, obviously you know what I'm going to be getting if I'm going to be printing this list. So if I'm going to print this list, so inside this list, I have 3 more lists. So if I'm going to run this, this is the outer list start, this is the outer list end, and inside this list, I have 3 different lists over here. So I can say this is a nested list. Okay, the list which is containing a list, isn't it? Well, that's cool. But if I'm going to print this list here, I'm getting elements like this. Okay, I have outer list, and inside the outer list is consist of different inner list. Okay, and then inner list is actually having the actual elements. So what I want to do, let's say I want to extract all the inner list elements that I do have, and I want to merge it into a single list, and I want to have that particular list. Then what I need to do? I need to do one thing. I need to go into the outer list first. Then I have to go to the inner list. I have to fetch all the elements, and I need to put it inside one list. And inside that list only, I need to fetch all the elements from this list and want to put that inside that list. Then I will be again fetching elements from this inner list and will push these elements to the one list where I want to store all my inner list element. And that is how I'll be able to actually merge all this inner list into one single list. Then how can I do that? What I actually mean to say that if let's say right now I have this, okay, now this list is actually this, okay. Now what I want one list right now, okay, and that list will have the elements of every list that I have inside this outer list, okay, something like this. Okay, so now imagine I have this over here. Now I want this. Then what I can do is very simple. Now I have this list right now. So this list is this one. So what I can do, I can iterate over it first of all. So I can just do for, and I can iterate over this list, Control C, and what I'm gonna do, I need to iterate over this list. So this list is containing what kind of element? It is containing list of integer type of element inside it. So I'm going to say list of integer, and let's say I'm going to do again, this is containing a list of integers. So I'll go inside this inner list right now. So once I'm going to get a list of integer on top of this list of integer, I'll again iterate, and this is right now going to get me the actual integer back. So I'm going to say int value, and now I can actually get my int value over here. I can have a hold to the int value over here. Now what I want to do with this int value, I want to store it inside one single list. So I'm going to declare a list of integer, merged list. Okay, merged list, and I'm going to say new array list. Okay, and then to this merged list that I do have, okay, I will do what? I'll add all the int value that I do have. So I'm gonna iterate over this list, and this list is my outer list. And then from the outer list, I'll get all my list that I do have inside that outer list, and I'll get a hold to that. Then one by one, I will go into each of the inner list, and I will fetch the value of each of the inner list, and I'm adding it over here to this merged list. Now, if I'm going to print the merged list right now, you can see the before and after. If I'm going to print the merged list right now, if I'm going to run this, okay, look at this. Previously, when I did print my outer list over here, it was printing something like this, an outer list, which consists of many inner lists, right? And now, whenever I'm going to printing this merged list that I have created, then I extracted the element from each of this inner list, and I put it inside one big outer list, and this is the result of mine. So in plain Java term, this is what we call flattening. Okay, is the list, and we have made a flat version of that particular list over here. We are flattening this list over here. That means we are extracting all the elements from the inner list and merging into one single list. So if I want to take this much of logic into a different method, let's say I'm going to do Control X, and here I'm going to come out of it, and I'm going to wrap this logic inside a method so that I can reuse it. I'm going to call this method as flat list. I'm going to start it over here. I'm going to end the method right over here. And what this flat list method will take, so here we are actually iterating over a list. So we are iterating over a list. Previously, we are iterating over which list? This list. So this is the type of element we're going to be accepting over here. So I'm going to say out, or let's say nested list. Okay. And this nested list, I will be iterating over, and that's it. Okay. Now what I will be getting back? So if you're going to giving me a array list which consists of list of elements, I'm going to give you back what? I'm going to give you back this version. This is my merged list version. I'm going to give you a list of integer. If you're going to give me a list of integer, I'm going to give you a list of integer back. I'll be flattening that outer list that you have, which consists of many different lists. I'm going to flattening it into one single list, and we'll be extracting the element, we'll be putting it inside it and giving you back that. Okay, so my return type will be this merged list. So here I will be doing what? I'll be returning this merged list over here. So the merged list type is what? List of integer. So I'm going to copy this, paste it over here, and there you go. Okay, so what happened over here? Why the heck this is complaining? Duplicate local variable. I don't have any duplicate local variables over here. Oh well, return spelling, return merge list. So there you go. So you have a flat list method right now. So we can utilize this flat list method right over here. Let's just print this list, the nested list that we have. Let's say before and after. Let's say before. Let's just print this list. And now let's just apply our flat list. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be having a static method over here so that I can call this flat list directly. So I'm going to say flat list. See what it is going to take. It is going to take an array list of integer. So I'm going to do this. So let's just pass in this array list of integer. Okay. Or let's just say, this will sound better. I'm going to say list of integer. That will be better. And here also, let's just take the type list of integer. So list is the super type of array list. So that will be better. So I'm going to pass this list. It's a nested list. What it is going to give back right now, look at this. This is the input, list of integer. The output is list of integer only, right? So here the output is going to be list of integer, list of integers only. Okay, and if you're going to print this, okay, s out, and I'm going to say after, and I will be printing list of integers, right? Now look at that. If I'm going to run this, first let me clear this and run this again. Look at this. Before was this, after is this, which is cool, right? Here I'm flattening the list. Well, can I just try one more example before we go forward? Here I have a list of string. Let's say list dot of, okay, and then let's say list of string 1. Then let's say I'm gonna have few more lines over here. Okay, let's say list of string 2 and list of string 3. So this is my channel name. So please do subscribe if you are enjoying the contents of this channel. So I have 3 different lists right now. So I want to put that inside a particular list. So I'm going to put all the strings inside this outer list. And what is the type of data I want to put inside this list? I want to put list type of data, list of string type of data. These are the lists I want to store inside this list. So can I do that? Absolutely. So inside this outer list right now, I'm going to add this list elements and look at our final outer list. Okay, let's see how it is going to look like. If I'm going to run this, look at this line right now. This is your outer list print that we are having. So now what I want to do, I want to flatten this particular list. If I want to flatten the list, then I'll be having one single list and all these elements from the inner list will be extracted and will be merged together and will be presented to me as a flattened list, right? So how to do that? Obviously, you can write another method like this because this method will not work right now. So if I'm going to do flat list, see what kind of data it takes. It takes a list of integer data. But what kind of data that I have? I have list of string data. So can I pass this over here? Absolutely not. You can't pass this. So this is up to you. You can go ahead and can design another method of a flat list, which is going to take a list of string. Okay. So maybe you can practice that by your own. But if you know generics, this is going to be very simple. So right now, I want to say here, I do not want to utilize this flat list method just for my integer type of data. Right over here, I'm using this. I want this flat list to accept any kind of list. Okay, so here the integer type, I don't want to be tightly coupled to integer type. Let's say I'm going to take a list of any type, and I will be able to give a list of t over here. I can take a list of t and I'll give you a list of t. Okay, so here one thing I just need to do, I need to change this to t and I need to define this t over here. Once I do that, now you can see if I'm gonna put this outer list over here, this will also compile fine. And if I'm going to use this flat list over a list, which is a list of string, for this also the flat list work. And for list of string, for this also this flat list will work right over here. You can see there is no compile time error. Now only the thing that you need to do, so here I'm iterating over this nested list and getting the inner list data, and the inner list will be list of t, not list of integer. It could be list of string, list of float, list of double. So whatever t that will be defined over here, that is going to be my t. Now the data that I'll get over here is t kind of data, and all this t kind of data I will be adding it to my merge list, which is going to hold a list of t type of elements, right? This t could be anything. Whatever this t will be, that will be this t. Okay, so there you go. So now you can see you have changed the logic of this particular method. So if you don't know generics, let's not worry about it. Go ahead and create another method like flat list that I have defined. So nothing to talk about over here. So this flat list right now is going to give me, if I'm going to come over here, so what I'm giving a list of string. What I'll be getting out, I'll be getting a list of string back. Okay, I'm going to get one list where I'll be having all my strings extracted. So if I'm going to do s out list of string, then I'll be getting my all the elements extracted into one single list. As you can see, Selenium, Express, Avilas, Panigrahi, please do subscribe. So I flattened this string list that I had over here. So what you need to do right now, just look at the input that you have given, okay, and look at the output that you got. In this case, this is the input, this is the output, right? In the previous case, this was the input provided to our flat list method, list of integer, a list which consists of list of integers. And now what we get a list, simply a list of integer. All the inner list elements has been extracted and has been presented as one single list. So here, using the flat method, we're getting the content directly. We're not getting the list, right? So previously, if you're going to see, this was the entire list. So whenever you print this list, you are getting list which consists of list, right? But whenever you are flattening it, you are just getting the list content, the content of inner list directly back over here. Hope this makes sense. Right now, let's just go into the next important things. All right, so we kind of got the understanding what do you mean by flattening a list means in Java. So for now, let me just remove all this. I won't be needing that. And all these methods, I will just take it down. I won't be needing it for now. Let's just talk about the map function right now, because we are talking about flat map, right? So let's just talk about the map thing. Okay, so flattening you understand right now. The mapping, let's just talk about it. So when we talk about flat map, don't think about like we have created a method called flat list. Right now we'll be flattening a map. Okay, no, nothing like that. I'm talking about this map thing over here. The map means think about mapping. Okay, we're going to be mapping things. So what things will be mapping? For example, we're gonna have a function. Okay, imagine this function I want to create. I want to create this function for what? Because the function in Java is going to help me to take an input and give me an output back. Okay, it takes a t can be anything, and gives me an r can be anything. So it will help me to convert t to r. You can see in the apply function, we're passing t is going to be the input that we'll be giving, and it's going to give me an r back. So right now, if I'm going to go back to my test to the Java, imagine I have a name, okay, let's say Vilash, and this is going to do what? This is going to give me the count of this name, the length count of this name. Now there are 8 characters, so it should say 8, okay. Let's say if I'm going to give it a word called Bob, now it should give me 3. The count of this string is 3. So what I should do over here, so over here I have a function I want to create, and this is going to take a string and gonna give me an integer back. So I'm gonna do let's say function string to integer function, and I'm gonna do new function, and over here I can override the unimplemented method that we have, which is apply. Okay, and using this apply, I know that I'll be accepting a string because I have written the input type will be string for the function. So for the apply method, I'll be passing in a string. Now this is going to give me an integer. This parameter is for the output type. We know about it, right? So I will be doing str.length over here. This is going to get me an integer value back. Okay, and I am going to, let's say int value. Let me just make it int value so that you can see that and can understand it. And I can return this int value over here. Okay, so right now to this function, a string to integer function, if I'm gonna use apply and can pass in a string like a Vilas, now this is gonna give me an integer back. So I'm gonna say integer int value and is equal to, and I'm gonna do s out of int value, right? Simple and straightforward. If I'm gonna run this, this should give me 8. Okay, and if I'm gonna clear this right now, if I'm gonna give a input called Bob, let's just do run Java, I'm gonna get 3 back. So I'm gonna pass in a string over here, I'm gonna get an output back over here, which is an integer. And that's what I'm doing. I'm giving Bob, is giving me the length count of Bob. Simple and straightforward. Now what I want to do, let's say if I have a bunch of elements, let's say if I have a bunch of elements. So let's say I have a bunch of elements over here. Let's say list of, and let's say I have elements like Abhilash, let's say Bob, and all that. Let's say I have a lot of strings over here. So this is a list of string that I do have. Okay, so list of string. Okay, list of strings that I have. Now what I want to do, I want you to apply this function for each of the string and gonna get me the length count for each of the string as a single list. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the input right over here, which will be all this. Okay, and you're gonna give me an output which is going to consist of the length count of each of this string that we do have. Okay, something like this. If this is, let's say I want you to write a function called map, well, we can use the Java 8 map function. That is exactly that we're going to be doing in some time. But just to understand what exactly that we are doing over here, we will be writing a function like map where I'll be passing in this string. I want you to take this list of string and I want you to give me the output. The output will be what? The list of integer. Okay, so let's say list of length count that I want. Okay, so I want a kind of list right now as an output. let's say if you're going to give me a list as an input, like a list of string, let's say Abhi and Bob, and my output is going to be a list which is going to be 4 and 3, which is going to be the length count of these two guys. Okay. And for that, I can write a map method. Inside this map method, I'll be accepting the list of string. And also I'll be doing one more thing. I'll be accepting this function to string integer, function string to integer. Okay, let's say remove the function here. Function string to integer as the second parameter. I want this method to pass in this bunch of string one by one into this function, and gonna collect the output, which is going to be integer. Then it's gonna do it for each of the string that we have over here for this list of string. For each of the string, I want each of the string to pass inside this function. It can accept a string, then it's gonna give back an integer, applying this length count. Then I want you to store that inside a collection and I'm gonna return that back. So for that, if I want to use my own map method, so I can do that. So I can write a map method, and over this map method, I'm gonna accepting a list of string. So I'm gonna do list of string here. Let's say list of string, and the function, let's say function string to integer. I want to convert a string to integer. So this is the function that I want. So maybe the type I'll copy over here, and I'll pass in as a second parameter, let's say mapper function. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to write a for loop, and inside this for loop, I'll be iterating over this list of string, and over this list of string, I'm going to be fetching the each element from the list. Then what I'm going to do, using this mapper function, I'm going to use the apply method, and I'm going to pass in each element from the input list. Let's say Avilas, I'm going to pick over here and going to put it inside the mapper function. Okay. This function I will be passing whenever I'll be calling this method like this, right? So now this is going to give me what? This is the input type of the function. Input will be a string. I'm going to pass in a string over here. And what will be the output? Output will be an integer. So I'm going to say integer, let's say value. Okay. And then I'm going to apply the mapper function to each of the element from the list that we are going to be iterating. Once we're going to be doing that, I will be basically store all this bunch of integer value that my function is replying or returning into a list. Let's say a list of let's say integer, and integer, let's say return list. I'm going to say return list, and is equal to new array list of integer. And then to this return list, I'm going to be adding all my value that I'm getting after applying the function, and I will be returning the return list over here. Okay. So my map function right now is going to return a list of the type of the function. Okay. So a list of integer I'm going to be giving over here, and I'm going to make this method static so that I can directly call over here. Now look at that. My map function is done. So right now, if I'm going to do s out list of whatever, let's say list of length count. Okay. Then if I'm going to do run this, I'll be able to get the count of each of the elements that I do have inside the list. Now just analyze this. I'm passing in this list of string. Okay. And passing in the function that I have created over here, which is actually doing the logic of converting, taking a string as an input and converting it to an integer. Okay. So this is the function that I do have, and this is the list of string that I want to operate over. I want to operate the function over this, each of this element. And this is what my map method that I have done is actually doing, is taking a list of string, taking the mapper function, then iterating over this list, finding each of the element, giving each of the element that it is finding from the list, applying the function over it, getting the return value, and storing all this return value inside a final list that we are returning over here. Now this is exactly the work of the mapper function. Now understand this thing. This is very important. What this mapper function is doing. Okay, the map that you have written over here, what this map method is doing. Well, the map method has two work over here. The first work of the map method is going to be, it is going to use the mapper function internally, where it is passing in the input and getting the output back. Now the input type here is string, okay? And the output that we get over here is integer, and that is exactly what we have mentioned over here in the mapper function. If you're gonna see the actual logic, this map function is being called over here, the actual logic is text a string, gives an output back which is an integer, text a string and gives an output back which is an integer. And if you're going to see our map method internally, here exactly you are doing the mapping. You are mapping what? You are mapping a string to integer. Okay. For an example, if you are giving Bob here, which is a string, the output will be 3. String to integer mapping you are doing from one type to another type you are mapping, right? That's why we're calling it a map, right? We're mapping inside it. Well, now the map method is doing mostly this thing. It's just doing the conversion work, isn't it? And that is why exactly we use map in Java stream also. I'm going to go into the Java stream. This will be the exact same thing the map function will do. It's just going to be used for conversion purpose. Now, what kind of conversion? Now, people say this as one-to-one conversion. Don't you think it's one-to-one? Look at this. Now, if you're going to see, while we're applying the mapper function, let's say we are picking one element. Let's say from the list of string, our list of string is going to be this. Let's say we are picking Avilash here, okay, or Bob here, okay. From the list, we are picking Bob. And if you are getting Bob over here, Bob is one single type. Bob is a string type. It's one input we are giving, which is a string type. And what output we are getting? We're getting the output as integer type. So you are giving one thing, getting one thing. Okay, you are giving Bob and getting 3, which is the integer. You are giving a string type, getting an integer type. Okay, so it's a 1-to-1 mapping from one type to another type you are getting. That's why we're saying it's 1-to-1 mapping. Okay, for each input that we are giving, we're getting a single output back. Let's say if you're giving Bob, you're going to be getting 3. If you're going to give Avilash, you're going to be getting whatever count of Avilash is. Okay, I think you understand that. Now, in your interview, if anyone is asking why you are saying 1-to-1 for map, because show them the function that you are basically accepting as an input. You are taking one type as an input, giving another type as an output. Okay, that's why we're saying it is used for conversion and for mapping for one input to an output type. Okay, got it? And also, sometimes the people has referred this as T and R because here we haven't used generics directly. We have directly coded it for simple example. So if you don't know generics, do not worry. Just skip to the next 2 or 3 minutes. Right now, I'm going to convert this method to a generic method so that it will not only able to hold string type of data, it will not only able to hold string or integer type of input and the output type. It can actually accept any function which is of any type of input and gives any type of output. Okay, and to do that we need to apply a little bit of generics. I think you can understand that even though you never use generics much, but if you are completely new to generics, what I can tell you, you can right now skip the next 2 or 3 minutes because I'm going to convert this method to a generic method. So here, if I'm going to convert this list of string, this is the input type. Okay, so I'm going to convert this string to T. Okay, so it can be any type of list I can accept. So where I'm using this list of string, I'm using the list of string over here. And from the list of string, what I am fetching? I'm fetching a string elements. Right now, my list of string of any type of element. So this string will be, I'll be putting it as T. So if it will be list of T, whenever I fetch elements from this, I'm going to be getting T. And that T, I'll be passing it over here as an input to this apply method of my mapper function. So this string, the input is going to be T. Okay. The T element will be putting it over here. The T will be the input type. What will be the output that we are getting? Okay, whenever we do apply, we'll be getting an output back. Okay, the output, I'm going to be referring it as R. Okay, so here instead of saying integer for the output, I'm going to be using R over here. Okay, now once I get the output, what I'm doing, I'm going to be putting that output over here inside this return list. What this return list is, this is a list of integer. No, it's a list of R. Okay, so I have changed all the tightly coupled things over here into T or R over here. Now it is complaining what is T, what is R. My Java compiler is not able to know it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go before return type and I'll be defining T and R over here. Okay, now all the compilation error is gone. Now return list is what? We're returning a list of R over here because R is going to be our output that we're going to be applying. So when the T is going to be the input, whenever we apply T over here, we're going to be getting R, and at last we're going to be putting all this R value over this return list, and we're going to be returning this. So instead of saying list of integer, I'm going to say I'm going to be giving you a list of R. Now this map function is compatible for any kind of list you can pass, any kind of mapper you can pass, and it will work for anything. So this is the generic version of your map method. So only thing you can understand here, just look at the function part. You are giving T and you are getting R. And here for this example, for this map example, I'm giving a list of string over here. So this T is becoming string. This R is becoming what? The function. The function second parameter is integer. Okay. Now this T is becoming string. The R is integer. Okay. So string to integer conversion that we are doing. T to R conversion we are doing. Okay. So 1-to-1 mapping we are doing. Hopefully you understand this. Now let's just go to the next step. All right. So we understood about the map thing. Okay. It's used for 1-to-1 mapping. Okay. Here goes our map method. For each given input, we are giving an output back for T to R conversion that we are doing inside the map. So right now, let's just get rid of all these blank lines, and these are the couple of methods that I've developed, and I really don't care for them right now. This is just for understanding. Actually, I don't care for any of these things, just for your understanding how these things actually works in reality. Right now, let's just talk about the Flatmap version. Okay, we know about map right now. The Flatmap is basically used for one-to-many conversion. So why I'm saying one-to-many conversion, and what exactly I mean by that? Okay, so to make you understand that, first of all, imagine I have a bunch of word, something like this. Maybe I can copy this. Okay, and imagine I have a bunch of word. For each given word, I want to split these words. Okay. How can I split it? I can split it, by the way, by using the Java logic. But if I'm going to split a Vilas, what I'm going to get? I'm going to get this. A, B, H, I, L, comma, A, S, H. Okay. Each character I'm going to get over here if I'm going to split this. And then Bob, if I'm going to split it, I'm going to get a string array, which is going to consist of each character like this, B, O, B. And if I'm going to split Selenium, I'm going to get another array. So from Avilas, I'll be getting this. From Bob, I'm going to be getting this. From Selenium, I'm going to be getting this. And from Express, I'm going to be getting this if I'm going to split each of this string using the split method. Because if you know, if I'm going to do, let's say, a string, let's say Abhilash is a string, and if I'm going to split this, okay, using the split method, let's say I'm going to split each of this character, and I do not want to give any space over here. I want to split each of this character, now the split is going to give me a string array back. Now if I'm going to put it over here and I'm going to say str array, you can see what it is going to give me. If I'm going to do s out of str array, if I'm going to run this, by the way, okay, there you go. It's just giving me a string array, but you can iterate over this string array to see the content of it, right? So I can just do a for each, and for each of the element that we have on the string array, you can actually iterate over them. This is going to give you a string back, let's say string str, and you can print each of the string that you have inside the array. Okay, I'm going to say s out, let's say system.out.print, and I'm going to be printing each of the string. And after printing each of the string, maybe I will be do a comma so that I'll be able to see all this string. So if I'm going to do run that, okay, look at that, how it is A, B, H, I, L, A, S, H. Like that, the elements are present inside that string called a Vilas, right? So the split method, if you're going to be splitting, is going to give me a string array back consisting of each of the characters like this. Okay, just that's the point that I want to tell you. So if I'm going to be splitting all these elements of Vilas, Bob, Selenium, Express, then I'm going to be getting some string array like this. Okay, but what exactly I want over here, I want a final version of this string array. Let's say, imagine if I'm going to be keeping all these elements inside one single array, something like this. Let's say, or one single, let's imagine this is a list, and this list is holding all these string arrays that we have. Okay, now if I'm going to be flattening this list, then what should I get? I should get one list, something like this. So all these elements, if it is going to be my input, I want to get an output version of this. Okay, this is exactly what I want to do. If I'll have an input like this, I want to flatten it, and I want to get one single output list where all the inner arrays values will be extracted and will be merged together as a single list, something like this. Well, we'll be coming into this, but this is something that I want. First of all, let's develop a function. Okay, imagine this function is going to take a word or a string. Okay, the input will be a string, and once we split this string, we're going to be getting what? We're going to be getting a string array back. So let's say I'm going to get a string array back as an output. Let's say function string to string array, something like this. And if I'm going to do a new function, okay, let's just override the apply method. Okay, so what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to take a string as an input. Okay, the string I'll be taking as an input. Then over this string, I'm going to apply the split method, and I want to split each of the string that I have inside this particular string. And now this is going to give me a string array back. Let's say string array back. Okay, and this is the array I want to return. So return str array. Okay, I want to do this. So if I'm going to try this, let's say if I'm going to do function string to string array, and if I'm going to do apply, if I'm going to pass in a string called a Vilas over here, this apply method output is going to be a string array. So it is going to give me a string array back. Let's say strarr, and there you go. And if I'm going to be printing this strarr, something like this, then I'll be able to get the value of it. Imagine I'm going to get the string array back, and obviously inside the string array I'll be having all my elements. If I'm going to printing the string array, I'm not able to get the value of it. I'm just getting the array reference. You can see it is starting with a bracket. That means this is the array reference I'm printing. One good thing I can do, instead of returning a string array, let me just return a string list. Okay, what I'm going to do, let's say arrays dot edge list, And if I'm going to put this string array over here, this is going to get me the list version of it, right? So if I'm going to do list of string right now, let's say string list is equal to, now this is going to return me the string list. So instead of returning a string array, if I'll be returning this string list over here, and if I'll be returning a string list over here, if I'm going to copy this, and if I'm going to return the string list over here, imagine the output is not going to be a string array, rather a string list. And here the output of the function will be a string list. Now if you're going to apply, right, now you can get output, which will be a list of string. And if you're going to print this, okay, and if you're going to run this, I think it is going to print the content here. See, it's going to print the content abhi something like this. So let's just so instead of returning a string array, let's just convert that string array that we are getting over here into list by using the arrays.aslist method and then return it. So that we can just see the content whenever we're going to be printing it, we won't be seeing the reference, okay? But the point that I want you to understand over here right now, with this function, what we have done, with this function, we are taking a string, then we are returning a string list, and inside the string list, we have the each of the character that we have inside the string represented in form of string list, okay? Now, what I want to do for each of this word that we have, okay, for each of the word, I want to put this word as an input, and I want to get a list of string back as an output, which will be the split version of that particular word, which will be each of the character that I'll be getting as a list of string, okay? And for that, if I'll be using my existing map method that we have, let's just see what is going to happen. If I will be using my existing map method, where I'll be passing in a list, which is going to be a list of words, okay? And the output will be this. If I'm able to pass this, what is going to be the output? The output is going to be the list of string, right? If I'm going to put it over here, the output is going to be list of strings, right? And if I'm going to print this, let's say list of strings over here, if you're going to run this, you're going to be seeing the output as, let's say you have a outer list, but inside that outer list right now, you have many inner list like Bob, Selenium, Express, okay? Let's say I do not want to get this version as an output. I want to get one single output version where I will be having one list where all the elements from the inner list will be extracted and will be merged together, so that I'll be getting a flattened version of this particular list that I'm getting over here. So if I want to do that, my existing map method will not work, because in this case it is returning a list of string, but what I want is a list of string only, right? So what I want to do, I do not want to use this existing map method that I have, which is used for one-to-one mapping, where I'm expecting a single input, I want to give a single output back. But here I am expecting something else, right? I want to give a single input, but I will not be getting a single output. See, if I'm giving a single input over here to this function, let's say I'm taking Avilas over here, and I'm going to pass into this function as an input. If I'll be giving a string, I'll be getting a list of string back. So for one input that I'll be giving, I'll be getting a list back. So it's like one-to-many mapping. For each input, I'm going to get an output, which will be list of string. I'm going to give you one value, but you're going to do something and going to give me a list of value, right? This is what I'm doing over here. So for that, what I'm going to do, I won't be using this map method that I have done here. I want to write a different map method over here, which is going to give me the result as one single list by extracting element from the inner list and giving me as a merged list. Let me tell you how we're going to be doing that. So over here, what I'll be doing, I'll be writing a method. let's say I'm going to say this is going to be a flat map method. Okay, so flat map, as I said, it is going to do the mapping, and also it is going to flatten that particular list that we're going to be getting after we do mapping. Okay, so what I mean by that, let's just understand here. So the flat map, if I'm going to make a static flat map method, okay, for now let's just return void. Okay, so I'll be able to call this flat map over here. Okay, let's just put flat map over here. So inside the flat map, my first argument will be, I'll be giving the list of words, right? I'll be giving the list of word. So first of all, let's just change and let's just accept a list of string here as an input. Let's say input list. Okay, so this is going to be my first parameter. Now let's say I'm going to take each of these words and I want to apply that over this function, and this function definition is this. So I'm going to be copying this definition, and for my flat map I'll be putting the definition over here, and I'm going to say this is my mapper. Okay, so for this flat map right now, for a list of words that I do have, which is this, I want to also give this function as a second input. So right now my code compiles fine. I'm going to take each of this word as an input, and I'm going to take this function as an input. I'm going to take each word from this list and I'm going to put it inside the function, because the word will be of string type. The function also accepts string type. So that is going to be my word as an input. And then this function is give me an output, which will be a list of string. Let's just see how right now we're going to be processing those things. Let's say, first of all, right now, let's just iterate over this input list. This input list, by the way, is the list of word, and these are the list of word. I'm going to get a list of words over here as an input. So I'm going to take that input right now, and let me just iterate over it. So I'm going to say 4, and I'm going to be iterating over this input list, which is going to be a list, by the way, which is going to have let's say list of strings. So I'm going to extract each of the string value over here, and then what I'm going to do, open each string value that I'm going to get over here. Let's say I'm going to get Avilash here as the first string value from this list. I'm going to be using this mapper, and I'm going to do apply. It is going to expect a string, so I'm going to be passing this string over here. Imagine this string is Avilash. I'm passing it inside the mapper. Now the mapper is going to do what? It is going to return me back a list of string. Obviously, if I'm going to put this Avilash, the mapper internally does what? We're passing this mapper. This mapper has been defined over here. So string, let's say Avilash, has been accepted over here. Now we are doing the split operation. We get a string array, which will be consisting of A, B, S, I, L, A, S, H. Then we are converting that string array to array list or a list of string, and then we are returning over here. So right now, whenever in our Flatmap method, we are taking an input and fetching the string value, passing it inside the mapper function over here. As an input, the output will be a list of string. So for one given input, okay, we are getting the output in list of string format. We're giving one value, but we're getting many value of that particular type, right? So let's say a list of string, and let's say I'm going to say a list of strings I'm going to get over here. Now, I want to do that for each word that I have inside the input list. So if I'm giving as an input a Vilash, then the output will be a list consisting A, B, H, I, L, A, S, H. Okay, something like this. So this is the input that we are giving over here. This is the output that we're getting over here. Now, what we want to do right now, we want to put each of this word into a particular list, and we want to return that, right? So what we do not need to do, if you're going to define the list over here, okay, and the list is going to be of what type? If you are directly putting this element to the list is going to be of this type, list of string, let's say return list, and I'm going to do new array list. And if you're going to put each of this return element over here inside this return list, let's say whatever you're going to get the output, you're going to be putting it inside this list. And if you're going to be returning this return list, then what will be the output? Return list is going to be this. And here I'm going to be changing the output as this. Then the output is going to be the list of string. Let me just write return here. Now you can see if you're going to be right now handling the Flatmap output, the output will be list of string. So if I'm going to copy this, handle the output, and I'm going to say nested list, I'm going to be getting over here. And if I'm going to be printing this, let's say s out of nested list, then if I'm going to run this, okay, see, I'm going to get one list, and inside this is this list that we are getting, the outer list. Now that will consist of the list of string for each operation that we have performed. For each operation we got a inner list over here, and everything that we are getting over here. Now we do not need a nested list over here. We need a list where all the elements will be merged together and will be presented to us as a final output. Then here we cannot do this thing. Rather, what we want to do, we do not want to return a list of string. We just want to return the content. We want to return a list of string only. So if we're going to do a list of string, and this is what we want to return right now. Okay, so if you want to return this one, then what exactly I mean by this, whenever you are applying the mapper function to an input, and whenever you get an output as a list of string, then I do not directly want to add the list of string into my list. Rather, I want to iterate over this string again. Okay, I do not want to add this list of string to my output list. Rather, I want to iterate the inner list one more time, something like this. Let's say list of strings I'm going to get, and then I'm going to be iterating and fetching the exact element. Let's say string, let's say element. Okay, and the element that I'm getting over here, that one I want to add it to my return list. Okay, so return list dot add and elements. Now this for loop that I'm doing for over my input list, then whenever I'm going to be passing in the input over a mapper function, I'm passing one input, but I'm getting the output in many version. How do we present many format in Java? By using the list, right? So whenever we give a string, we're not getting a string back or an integer back. We're getting a list of string back in this case. So whenever we give a string, we get a list of string back. So that's why I'm saying it's a one-to-many mapping. For one input, I'm going to get many outputs. So I've given one input, I got many output. Now, whatever output that I get, this contains many value inside it. Now I want to iterate over each of this value. Then I want to add that into a final list. Okay. Then I want to perform it for each of the string that I have. Let's say I have another string called Bob. Now this is going to get me Bob over here, right? B-O-B, right? Now that also I'm going to be iterating, and I'm iterating B, then adding it over here, then iterating and getting O, then adding it over here, then I'm going to get B, then adding it over here. And then I want to do it for each of the string that I have available inside the input list. Right now, if you're going to look at this, here the Flatmap is going to return what? It is going to return a list of string back. And right over here, this is what it is going to return. Now, if you're going to see our Flatmap version, this is the exact replica of the Java stream Flatmap version. Now, look at this. Now, I'm getting one final string back over here, which is consist of many elements, which is being extracted from inner list and been merged together, and we have flattened the list over here. Now, this Flatmap version that you have written, this is exactly what you need to understand. You are giving one input, but you are getting many output back over here. Now, the many output that you are getting, you are finally merging everything together and returning like in this format. You are not returning a list of string, rather you are returning a list of string. This is the final array that you are returning, or final list that you are returning, which has been merged all the input values through this inner loop that you are running. It is just helping us to add all the elements to this final list, and that is what exactly we are returning. And if you understand this right now, you know what Flatmap means. The Flatmap is basically does two things: flattening and mapping. Okay, where we are doing mapping, here we are doing mapping. We're giving a string and getting an output back. So this line is where we are doing the mapping. Okay, then in this line, in this for loop, here we are basically flattening. We are basically flattening over here. Okay, flattening in the sense we're taking each element from the inner list and we are returning as a whole over here through this return list right over here. Okay, so I think you understand what this flat map does. It does mapping and flattening. And whenever we do mapping, we give one input, but we get many output. Okay, so this is what we're giving: one input and we get output in many format. Okay, we're giving a string, we're not getting a string back, or we're not getting an integer back or a double back. If you're going to give a string, you get a list of string. You might have get a list of integer if your logic is different. You might have get a list of double if the logic is different. So the mapping or conversion you basically do, but it is a one to many mapping, right? So if you're going to give a string, you're going to get a list of string. Okay, I think you understand that. Okay, so right now let's just go ahead and let's just try another flat map example. Imagine I'm going to take a sample class here, and let's say this class is person class. Okay, the class name is person, or let's say it's a student class. So inside the student class, imagine I have a private string student name as one variable. And another property that I have over here, let's say the student can have many phone numbers. Okay, so let's say private, and let's say I'm gonna have a list of integers, let's say, where I'm gonna be having the phone numbers of the students. Okay, so right now what I'm gonna do, let's say to initialize this two thing, let's just have a constructor. So I'm gonna do right click and let's just do source action, generate constructors, and I'm going to be generating the constructor for both of this thing. Okay, so there you go. And obviously now let me just initialize this phone number. So let's say new array list, because the one student can have many phone number, so I am putting that in a list of integer format. Okay, so this looks good. And also to access the variable, let's just create the getter method. So I'm going to do right click, source action, and let's just generate the getters. There we go. I'll be generating getters for both of this variable. So that's pretty much it about my student class. Okay, now let's just go down. Okay, over here, and let's just go all the way to down. Okay, and I will be right now declaring some student variable. Okay, so let's just initialize some student variable over here. Let's say student is equal to new student, and let's just give the name of the student, let's say Avilash, and let's say the student has some phone number, and I'm going to be giving a list. So I do not want to create a list like list array list is equal to new array list, then list dot add of some phone number, list dot add of some phone number. Rather, in one place only, using this up method, let's just pass in some phone numbers. And over here also, let's just give some more value over here. Okay, let's say this guy, this student is Abhi. He has this name, and these are the list of numbers that he has. And just like this, I have a couple more student. Now imagine I'll be keeping all this student inside a list. So I'm going to be saying student list. Let's say student list is equal to new array list. And I'll be adding student list dot add. And I'll be adding Abhi over here. And I'll be copy pasting this line for a couple more times, and I'll be changing the reference over here inside my student list. Let's say this guy is Rakesh and this guy is Joe, right? There you go, and looks good. Now, if you're gonna be doing S out of student list, you're gonna be finding all your students will be inside this list of student. But if I'm gonna run this, okay, look at your student list. Well, I'm not able to print the data of student list. These are just the reference. So let me just go to my student class and let's just create a toString method over here, generate toString. Let's just do okay. So I'll be able to print my student name and phone number. Let's just come down and I'll be running this. Okay, now there you go. This is my student list. But if you're gonna look at this, sorry, let me run this again. Okay, I want to drag it a little bit. Look at this. This is one student. The name is Avilas, but the phone number is in form of list. Now, this is another student. The name is Rakesh, but he got multiple phone numbers. This guy is Joe, but he has multiple phone numbers here as a list, right? So now what I want to do, let's not print anything right now. I want to do this. Let's say if I will give you an input, the input is a student. Okay, let's say input is Abhi. And then you need to get me the output, which will be a list of integer. And why this is a list of integer? Because I want to get the phone numbers of Avilas. So the output will be, let's say, these two numbers. Okay, these two numbers. Okay, this is the output that I want. Okay, so if I need to do this, then I can write a function, right? So I can write a function, and in this function, the input will be a student I'll be passing. Okay, so input will be a student. Let's say I'll pass, let's say Obi is a student and I want to pass it over here. Forget about this list. We will coming into this later. Imagine I have a student and I'm passing this student. The output that I need is going to be the phone number of Avilas. So the phone number has been represented as what? If you want to go to the student, the phone number has been represented as list of integer. So if you're going to come to our function below here, right over here, so it will be the output. So the input will be a student. The output will be a list of integer, which will be the phone number of the student. Let's say a function student to list of integers. Okay, and is equal to new function I want to create. And over here, what I need to do, I need to first of all have the unimplemented method implemented over here, which is the apply method. Now I'm going to take each student. Let's just rename the variable as student. Now I'm going to take the student over here. Then I'm going to do student dot get phone numbers. And this is going to get me the list of phone numbers. So this is going to get me the list of integers. Let's say phone numbers. And this is what I will be giving back. Okay, this is going to give me back the list of integer. So right now, if I will do function student to list of integer function, if I'm going to use, and if I'm going to apply it, and I'm going to pass in a reference of student over here. Let's say Abhi, and Abhi is the student that I do have over here. Then what I will get over here, I will get a list of integer, let's say phone numbers back over here, right? And if I'm going to do S out, let's say phone numbers, I'll be getting my phone numbers back. Well, why the apply method is complaining, this method must return. Oh, okay, we haven't returned this. So let's say return phone number. Okay, there you go. So the phone number, it will return. So there you go. So if I'm going to run this, run Java, I can see here goes the phone number of Avilas. And if you're going to write here, I want to find the phone number of the student Joe, then you're going to be getting this phone number back. So if I'm going to run this, this works good right now, and it is returning the phone number of Joe. Now what I want to do, this function right now, I want to apply over each of the student that I do have over here in the list. Now in my list, I have 3 students, Abhi, Rakesh, and Joe. And over each student that I have on the list, I want to apply this function over each of the student, and I want to get the entire list back. Now, if I want to reuse my Flatmap method, I can, but let me just write another version of the Flatmap method, and then we will do something, because right now the current Flatmap method that we have, is expects a list of string as an input. But here in our case, we have a list of student which will go as an input, and our current Flatmap method cannot support it. So we need to make it generic. But before I make it generic, I want you to see this format, because most of you may be watching who does not know generics. So I do not want to involve generics right now. So maybe I will write another Flatmap method. Okay. So why Flatmap method? I will also tell you about it. So I am writing the method name as Flatmap, but let's just say Flatmap v2 as the method name. This method I'll be using over here, and this method is going to do what? I am going to give the student list as a method input over here, and I want to give this function as a method input over here, and I want this Flatmap to basically take the student list and apply this function and find the phone number of each student. So here, the first parameter that I'll be accepting is a list of student. Okay. And let's say student list. And I'm going to take a function over here. And this is the function I'll take, which will be my mapper, which will take a student as an input and will give a list of integers as an output. So I'm going to do mapper. Okay, so this is what I have. So let's just try to write the logic for this. So I'm going to iterate over each of the student that I have inside the student list. So let's just do that quickly. You have already seen that. So this is just for practice. Let's say if I'm going to iterate over this, I'm going to get a student back. Now I'm going to take that student and I'm going to use this mapper, and I'm going to do mapper over here. And I'm going to just do apply, and I'm going to be passing in the student over here, and I'm going to get the output back. So for each student, if I'm going to give input, the output will be the list of integers, which will be the phone numbers. So I'm going to say list of integers. Let's say integers list. Okay. Or I can say phone number list. Okay. That I'm going to get over here. Now, what I need to do, I do not want to return this phone number directly, because if I'm going to use this mapper function over each of my student will return a list of integer, which will be a list of phone number. So I want to extract each phone number from the phone number list for each student, and I want to add it to a list. Okay, the final list. So this is going to be my final list. Let's say list of integer I have. Let's say return list is equal to new array list. And here inside this return list, I'm going to be doing what? I'm going to be iterating again over here to this phone number list, and I'm going to be extracting the phone number. Let's say phone number list, and I'm going to be extracting the phone number, which is in integer format. Let's say phone number. And here, after finding this, I'll be adding it to my return list. So let's say return list.add, and I'm going to be adding in my phone number, and I will be returning the return list, which is in form of list of integer. So this is what I'm going to be returning, right? So this one is going to be my flattened list. Now my Flatmap v2, if I'm going to make it a static method, okay, something like this, it will return me what? If I'm going to hover on this, it is going to return me the list of integer. So I'm going to do a list of integer. Let's say phone number list of each student. Okay. So if I'm going to do this, then the final list that I'm going to be getting over here if I'm going to do s out, well, let me remove this. Okay, and let me just print this entire list over here. Let's just say phone number list of each student. And if I'm going to run this right now, this should work. So you can see this is the phone number of each student that I have. That is Avilas, Joe, and maybe Rakesh, right? So I have merged the phone number of each student into one list and flattened it. And that's the work of this Flatmap version that I have. Okay. Now you don't have to actually write each of the Flatmap version just like this that we have over here. In each of the Flatmap that you have written over here, the logic is very simple. We're taking an input, we are giving an output, but the input is of one, we are giving one student to the mapper apply function as an input, but the mapper is returning a list of integers back. Okay, so here we can say we are doing the conversion from student to list of integer. And one thing you need to over here that you have given one input but you got many output. Okay, so this is why the Flatmap is basically called one to many, and here the conversion is going on, and here actually you are doing the flattening operation. If you don't do that, it will return a list of integer instead of list of integer only. So the return type is a flattened version of every student is returning many outputs. So all the many output has been merged into one single list, right? But as I said, you really don't have to write a different Flatmap version, like this for each Flatmap operation that you are doing. If you know generics, this can be resolved, right? So basically whatever you are doing over here, inside this Flatmap, you are also doing the same thing over here as well. So if you want, you can just remove one of the method and can name this as Flatmap, and you can use the same Flatmap over here. It will work for this input because this is exactly matching with this, but the other one that you have written, I think just in front of this one will complain because you are passing a list of word, which will be a list of string as an input to this, and the function also string to list of string conversion that you are doing, which is different than the one that you have mentioned over here. So you need to change it to generic if you want it to be supported for every Flatmap operation that you'll be doing. So if you don't know generic, you can skip the next 2 minutes of this video, because right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this method to generic version. I'm going to write this list as T. And here this is going to be the input. Input is going to be T. And list of R is going to be the output that I'll be getting. And I'll be finally returning a list of R only. And I'll be defining my T and R over here to get rid of this compilation error. This is my generic declaration. And over here, first of all, I'm iterating over the student list, which is giving you T type of element. So I'm gonna put it as T. I'm gonna put the T over here. Maybe the variable name we can change. But yeah, we can put the T over here, and this is going to give me a list of R. Okay. And then we will be iterating over this R right now, and we'll be adding that to the final list, which will be our list of R. And that is something that will be returning over here. And over here, if you're going to change the variable name, because this looks a little weird, you can say this list of T is your input list. And you can basically iterate over this input list right now. And after iterating, you're going to be getting an input. That input that you will be passing it to the mapper function. The mapper function will give you a list of output. Okay. Or I can say it's going to give you a output list. And this is the output list right now. You'll be iterate over and gonna find out your output and gonna pass in that output to the return list. And this is your generic version of your Flatmap method that will work for any type of input and any type of mapper. Now this Flatmap method should work for here and should work for the other example that we have created. And this is the power of generics. So if you do not understand how this T and R thing works, just watch my generic series and just watch my map, how the map method works with generics, and that will give you the complete clarity. But here, this is just for understanding. But the only thing that you have to understand here the conversion goes T to list of R. Okay, one type you are giving as input, output will be list of R. Okay, T to list of R conversion you are doing here. But here in the map, here you are doing T to R conversion. So one input you are giving, you are getting one output back. But in the Flatmap, you are giving one input, but you are getting a list of R as output. T to list of R conversion you are doing. Okay, one to many conversion you are doing in the Flatmap version. But right now, neither I need this Flatmap, nor I need this map, or nor I need this flat list method, because I have everything available in my Java Stream API, and I can reuse all those things, and I can straight go into that right now. So right now, this is all thing that you have done just for getting an understanding on the Flatmap basics. What do you mean by flattening? What basically the map does? What basically the Flatmap does? Okay, right now, can you please write me in the comment, what is the difference between map and Flatmap? What is the concept that you took away from this particular video? Let me know in the comments. So this is it for the first part of the video. In the next part, we'll be talking about the Java Stream API, Flatmap, and the map operation that we have over there. Because if you understand this, that is going to be a piece of cake. So we will continue the same lesson over there with the Stream API of Java, and we'll explore the Stream API, map, and the Flatmap method. And these are just the clone that I have just created for understanding. Let's just get into that particular video right now.